How long have you been on the force?
10 years now. So I did 10 and 10, so yeah.
You still on the patrol? You still out?
I'm actually an academy instructor now, so I get to spend my days being a drill instructor.
Terrific. You look like the drill instructor type. And you got that attitude, you know, the drill instructor attitude. I love it.
Ask my kids about it. They'll tell you the same thing.
Oh, well,
Like,
yeah.
hey, you got the perfect job, so.
Yeah, it's nice that you can, you know.
That's the same. Go be myself.
Synchronicity. It works. It works and well.
Right.
This is a bad time to be a good cop, man.
You know, it really doesn't even bother me. There's a lot of folks that piss and moan about it, and at the end of the day,
well, I wouldn't expect you to.
Yeah, I'm doing exactly what I was meant to do.
Yeah, you don't put that thing on, uniform on to be a pussy.
Well,
you went in knowing what the hell you want, so I don't find a lot of the...
As I say, most of the guys I talk to, they're more disappointed with the government backing than they are the public. The public's going to go whichever way the media pushes them.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong here now, but they've got... It's sort of like you've done... They've got you down, because you're in the academy. You'd be perfect to ask this question. The political correct aspect of it. I mean, I don't think police officers have ever been better trained in...
Oh, no, we've got better training now than we have in forever.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, you've got guys now who you really... I mean, we're trying to train them almost to be attorneys because they have to. There's so many potholes and there's so many other lawyers out there that roast them in the government. And so they're better trained there. Tactics are better trained with the number of cops you've had shot. So, I mean, we really push them hard on tactics and understanding what you can and can't. So you'll see, as time goes on, a lot of what in the past might have been civil rights violations, you'll see most of that subside just because the training got so much better. As the older guys go away from a lot of police like this in the 80s or 90s to something new, you'll see that subside a little. The sad part is that we can't get the young ones to be aggressive when they need to. That's the problem.
What do you attribute that to?
So much. Oh, it's all political correctness shit.
Okay.
As time has gone on, you've told these people it's never okay to hit. It's never okay to fight.
Don't offend.
All these kids have been in school, and if you get into a fight, defending yourself, you're suspended. So they've been told you never hit.
Exactly.
Never a time
the social
for violence.
engineering that put us there.
And I'm with them to some extent. You avoid violence as much as you can, but when it's time for violence, you doggone better be good at it or you get killed.
Well, they didn't make the Second Amendment for nothing.
Right, exactly.
You know, I mean, right.
No, you're
now
nail on the head.
Stepping into the dark side on this. I talked to a 30-year sheriff yesterday, who just recently retired. I asked him about the shooting in Florida. Would it be normal training for the officers to stand outside? He goes, no. He says, no.
They were told to.
I know. Once we show up, you go in.
And that's been the training since Columbine. Prior to Columbine, the answer was, if you had an active shooter inside a structure, barricade the structure, hold the structure, and let SWAT, specialized unit, come in and respond. And when they realized how many people got shot and that one or two people press the fight a little bit, most of the cowards will hole up the bathrooms and blow their own head off because they're not willing to let you shoot them. They'll do it themselves. So pressure almost always stops it, even if it's one or two guys.
I mean, you iterate that all the time. You see, the question I have here is like,
they won't.
They don't
want to talk about the truth.
They want you, and you know this because it's the course of your action. Once you confront a bully or confront anybody, they back off because they don't expect anybody to come back at them. They'll keep pushing and keep pushing.
You've got the perfect storm though, because you've got a generation for the last 20 years that's been told you never hit, you never fight back. Just go tell somebody. So they're afraid to fight back. So the bullies have got free run because everybody's afraid to stand up and say you can't do that or punch the bully in the nose like we were taught to do.
I don't think you're teaching your boys to be that way, are you?
Oh, no, absolutely not. But the problem is that I've got them for 16 weeks, and then they go to an FTO after that. And in 16 weeks to undo 20, 25 years of programming.
Yeah, but the good thing about it's like...
get them started.
Yeah, but what you can do, of course, is you show the magician's trick. You show them how they do it.
Exactly.
Then when they go out there and they see it, it's going to, they can't be...
It does in most of them.
It sinks in.
The problem that we see really, though, is the attrition of them in the academy.
Yeah, the peer pressure.
You'll get 50% through a class now where you used to get 85 or 90% through. So it's a different deal now. They continue they get in there and then they'll fail out on academics because the teachers have been taught teach the test. So like you got standardized testing in school now. Yeah. So instead of giving them reading, writing, and arithmetic, You tell them, when you see this question on a test, this is how you need to answer it. So you don't give them information where they can use it for knowledge. You just give them information they're supposed to memorize and pass a test so the school gets funding. So academically, we kill them.
Critical thinking is...
Right, that's gone.
Yeah.
So we kill them on that. There's 50% that will make it through academically, 60% because they just can't do it. And then there's a few that go out to injuries. And then there's some that get in there and realize, this is not what I want. It's not what I thought it was going to be. There's people screaming at me and yelling, and they're breaking shit and shooting at us with munitions. And better find out now.
Where's my safe space?
Right. Better to find out now at that academy, though, when they're out there on the street and you're me.
Now I'm going to get real dark on you.
Go for it.
Sandy Hook.
Total setup. You tell it. How about this? Every time that there's a mass shooting, there's an active shooter drill within a half a mile to a mile away. What's the odds? Maybe once, but not 2, 3, 4 times in a row.
3 times. Once is an incident.
Yeah, once.
Twice is coincidence. 3 times it's a pattern.
Yeah, exactly.
And every one of them you get, all right, some way the FBI authorities knew.
Sure.
Did nothing. The guy was on psychotropic drugs.
Every shooter we've had.
They've heard voices in their head.
Sure.
Which is now, we just got this past week, was the mind control programs that they're working on. We're funding. Our tax dollars, we're funding.
Well, they've been doing that, though, since
late 50s,
early 60s.
And K-Ultra, we go all back.
Exactly.
Wow.
And so, it started all there.
What would make an entire police department go along with something like Sandy Hook, though?
What you'll see with something like Sandy Hook is there was probably very few people involved, and the rest was all set up. There's a few people that are in the know.
No, I've heard this. I haven't.
Yeah, there's a very.
I've heard this. I haven't verified it, but I've got to the point where I know enough about it. I don't back it up. Everybody in Newport had their mortgage paid off.
That's what I was going to tell you. When you get a minute, Google that area and see everything within a few miles of there. All of them were paid off, and then check the date that they were paid off on. Go pull it up sometime and find out who closes mortgages on Christmas Day. On Christmas Day, 3 or 4 months prior to the event, every mortgage within literally 3 or 4 miles of the place was paid off on Christmas Day. There's not a mortgage company out there closing shit on Christmas Day. Come on, really?
Where does the cutoff come out? Because then we can look at other false flags, like the big one, of course, being 9/11, and the one that really was twisted, of course, was Oklahoma City bombing. We goes on and on. When it happens in a city as big, with the police force as big as New York, not everybody, of course, can be in on it. I assume in that it's intimidation on job, pensions, and stuff that we're keeping quiet.
Exactly.
Like that.
Yeah, you get enough of those guys and you tell them you will lose your job. The FBI says we'll have you arrested, we'll throw you in a jail and hold you forever for interfering with a federal investigation. That's the easy way to say. If you told me you're not going to talk about this, if you do, we'll throw you in some deep, dark cell somewhere and you'll never, ever come out. We'll stall the legal process till you're fucking so old that you die in jail.
Isn't that damn breaking now, though? Because,
it's starting to.
Well, because I'm out here gauging it.
Yeah, you're starting to see
I've been, preaching the 9/11 thing since it happened.
Yeah.
And my little housewives from Alabama, accountants.
Well, and the internet is the biggest part of that.
Of course.
Because you think about prior to 2001, I don't say it's new, but there wasn't near the resources on the internet that there has been over the last 17, 18 years.
That's why they're trying to squash it, right?
Now the housewives in Alabama can get on Google and start looking. There's a million people out there saying the same things that we're saying, and they can't help but hear some of it, and they all start to go, well, shit, that kind of makes sense. Why? Prior to that, late 90s, if you were on there, you were looking at like a Wikipedia or freaking just basic encyclopedia type sites. And that stuff wasn't out there. Now, social media, you can't help it. Instant people showing stuff, you can't help it.
That's what I say.
So with information, information is power, but for both sides. And that's the thing, is that you're starting to see a pushback now because there's enough information, enough people out there hollering, wait a fucking minute, this doesn't add up. And because of that, they start to lose some power.
And they are.
They absolutely are. And that's why they panic. You saw the last election went. You can't tell me 4 million illegal votes, either illegal and or dead people voting, and this guy still pulls the election off. That tells me that there's the vast majority of people are on the right page.
Look at me.
Just paid
look at me in this liberal cesspool.
Oh, yeah.
Right here in the middle of this liberal cesspool.
And ain't nobody going.
I've been doing this 5 years. You don't see bullet holes in me. If you stand here when there's crowds here, 8 out of the 10 people that will notice the thing give me the thumbs up.
Right on. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, I know the numbers.
Because we're down once, 2, 3 times a year, just depends. I've been by a couple times and seen it and talked to you once before. But we were actually on the trolley over here this morning. There's some folks from New Jersey and people from Portland, Oregon. And it's funny talking to them because both of them are pretty conservative folks. And you're like, oh, wait a minute. They were like, oh, yeah, we don't like the state politics, but there's more people like us than you believe, which I know. So my wife immediately says, you need to go over here and see Uncle Sam. And they were like, what? She said, I'm telling you, go to the end of the French Market or right there in the middle. You'll see him. You'll know. And as we were walking over to the Center for Performing Arts, she teaches belly. She's a nurse, but teaches belly dance. So we were over there, and we saw you coming across the tracks, towing your trailer. I told them, said, there he is. I said, they'll see him in just a minute because you were literally just within a minute. So it's pretty awesome that I'm glad you do
synchronicity.
Exactly. I mean, anybody's going to know. You say, hey, you know exactly what they're going to know what you're talking about.
What do you think's going to happen in the short term, long term? What do you see coming socially? It seems like we're gearing up for something big's going to happen. They're either going to pull a false flag, economy collapses, something.
I'm looking probably to be some kind of an economic issue. There'll be some sort of economic deal where they can go, hey, wait a minute, yeah, you had good results in the short term, but you've killed us, and then they're going to push some other Obama-esque deal. But I mean, you can argue all you want, but the best economy the lowest unemployment since 1969, the best economy ever. Say what you want, but I mean, the proof's in the pudding. Take a look around. So as long as people will hold them to it when it comes.
And the fix is really there. It's just that we have the guts to do it. And I'm going to say, well, though the heavens may fall, we'll let it go.
Right.
Because it is the Federal Reserve, and we could just say, look, we don't owe this debt. You robbed us of this.
Sure.
You guys go to jail. This is all canceled out.
Well,
we go back to a sound money system.
Exactly.
Boom, bing, boom. Transition probably take about 2 weeks. Everything would be cool.
Well, sure. That's what everybody's like, well, what happens if China calls in this massive debt? Fuck them. Tell them come get it. That's fine.
Wait, come collect you, SOB.
$10. Come take it from me. Go ahead and find out. I mean, they have the people as far as army
sure,
goes.
They can do it, but it's worth annihilation.
They can. I mean, they couldn't wage the war longer than 5 or 6 weeks on their economy anyhow, still teetering. Yeah, they're growing, but their people are growing. So, I mean, they just can't.
Yeah.
When we were looking at all that stuff in war plans, a 6 to 8 week deal is about all they're good for. They've only got 2 ships. They couldn't get people here to do anything if they wanted to. All they've got some missiles, and they're not willing to do it. Over some money, it ain't worth it. You pop off a couple and we bury your ass. Yeah, you've got Russia behind you, but Russia economically is in the same boat. They can't afford to do shit. They'll talk big. In the grand scheme of things, they really can't afford to do anything. Their economy's smaller than Italy. I mean, let's just be honest about it. They can't afford it. They'll talk a good game because they've got nukes, but nobody's going to use them. They don't want that back.
Yeah, we could all do some damage to one another, but who wants to go there?
Right, but at the end of the day,
other than the psychopaths high in the
does anybody prosper at the end of it? Very few.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, it's just, but yeah, I've watched that stuff for a long time, and I mean, it's just from the get-go. Like you said, 9/11. You talk about Donald Rumsfeld. Donald Rumsfeld come out and well, we've lost $6 trillion and we don't know where it went. And literally within a week, the exact office that holds the servers for all of the stinking budgetary items that he's talking about are lost for the DOD gets hit by a plane that nobody could fly in there. Come on, man. Come on. I mean, and everything else behind it. Everything else behind it says, look over here, the World Trade Center, all this other. Everything on it says, don't look over here at the Pentagon, which is almost all but been forgotten. And that was the whole reason for it.
Yeah. It's not a day that goes by I don't show somebody on the screen back there, building number 7 falling down.
Yeah. Explain this to me. Yeah. And a perfect implosion at that brings things straight down. Yeah. A jet hits something, obviously there's impact. Okay, yeah, maybe you could argue it burns hot enough to melt some steel, but to collapse everything systematically underneath it, no.
Coincidentally,
the top might do this and fall over.
Coincidentally, this morning, David Knight was talking about the 9/11 families before Congress, saying, look, we got 560 pages of evidence here, solid, ironclad evidence that these buildings were brought down by controlled demolition.
Had to be.
So that was in the news this morning.
Yeah, I mean, it had to be. There's no other way to fold them that neatly.
We know that. Of course,
you have to.
The physics are pretty easy to figure out. Of course, the why is where you get into the minutia of, right?
Mm-hmm. I mean, you go back, it's all money at the end of it. It's all budgetary.
I always do what police investigators do. Who benefits? from any crime, who benefited?
Well, that's it. You always,
that'd be the first.
Every investigation is follow the money.
Yeah.
Because you follow the money, you'll start to soon enough find out who was it that.
And if it ain't the money, it's a passion play, and then it's second degree.
And that's always easy. That's never clean.
Yeah.
So that's always easy.
Yeah, you have to know somebody. They know that person. You
exactly.
know, right?
That's always an easy one. But yeah, you start looking. It's just you know how it is. So.
Wow.
But yeah, I mean, it is. It's impressive what goes on and what we're willing to do and how things work. So.
All right. Well, so you got hope then, huh? You got hope.
Mm-hmm.
Good.
I mean, it's just what you do. I mean, it just takes enough of us. That's what it's going to come down to.
Well, indeed.
Enough people start hollering.
And I think there are, and it's always a small group of dedicated people who do change the course of history.
For sure.
As you say, and you know this, that most people are followers. They're going to, they're going to.
Sure. 97% of people are sheep. That's why they come up with that little 3% thing. 3%. Get 3% fought a revolution against the biggest military power known in history. So, imagine what 5 or 10% could do if they really decided to push.
I know.
And there's way more than 5%.
That's what put them in. It's like, it'd be...
Right. There's way more than that. It just has to get bad enough for them to finally say, enough's enough. Most people right now still say, well, I got a little money in the bank and I can pay my mortgage and I'm eating it. I don't like it, but it's not on my door. When it's on their doorstep, when it finally hits them personally, then people start screaming. That's just how it works.
You know what,
you just have to hit them.
I've run into some of the guys. I've been in the intel and gone through. I assume you read Behold a Pale Horse, Bill Cooper.
Yeah.
And now other guys that were deep into it and finding things out just came, boom. I mean, they're out there somewhere in the Tennessee hills. They're they're off the grid. They're living off of the land. Nobody knows who they are, where they are. They're that paranoid because they say some of the weapons that we do have.
Oh, they're inconceivable.
I was watching something the other day.
And it's not just us. That's the weird thing. Some of the stuff is both sides.
Well,
Everybody's got it. So it's shared info, not necessarily by us.
It's like when we talk about the weather wars. We don't know who the hell is.
Like those contrails?
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, I was just talking to a friend came by here today. He was talking to some of the council people here, the city council people. And they were bringing up, the trails. And he said, oh, those are chemtrails. And they looked at him and said, oh, you're one of those conspiracy nuts. And they'll start to ridicule him.
Sure they do.
I said, get back in their face. Tell them the history of that.
How many other jets do you see leaving? Why is only just a few do that?
Yeah, and I love it because I'll watch them. They'll start here and end over there. So is it only over the city that,
Exactly, yeah. They're not doing this in the middle of nowhere. Come on.
Yeah,
it's always entertaining, if nothing else.
So, God, I mean, Jesus, they attack it, but I see, obviously I'm going to attract people that have like mind or awake or see the problem or looking for an answer. So I get a lot of people that are in the mix, like, I might be working for the Air Force and knows about the chemtrails, or especially what I get a lot of feedback on lately is the AI robotic technology and how that's taken over and what that's going to do to us societally in the near future. Because that's another problem, guy. I don't see any way we can stop this one. The AI robotics is going to, at a minimum, even if we were our best areas of trying to put the brakes on it, probably put about 30% of the people out of work. Well, we've already got a burden of welfare, too many people on welfare.
Yeah, so you push 20 or 30% more on.
Yeah, so
that's the vast majority of people are dependent on Uncle.
Yeah, unless, of course, there's some new economy we can spur people to become entrepreneurs.
Right.
Like I say, most people are not independent. They're not out there.
They're followers.
They want a job. They want they want someone to tell them what to do, and so there's still going to be a vast majority of people that we don't know what the hell they. And Kissinger called them the useless food eaters.
That's it.
How are we going to sustain them?
You're not. At some point, you purge them. As bad as that sounds. I mean, as bad as that sounds for what it is, at some point they go away either by their own or with help.
Yeah, I'm aware of that. It's just natural selection of things.
Right. At some point, and it's not. You'll have some that are in the middle, some that are put out by.
So we're looking at some chaotic social chaos in the next 10 years or so. That
every true constitutionalist, democratic, whatever you want to look at.
So we go back to Thomas Jefferson. From time to time, the Tree of Liberty needs to be watered by.
Sometimes you gotta water it, and that's, I mean, but you look at 2, 3, 4 generations deep now that know nothing other than sitting around waiting on the check to come.
Oh yeah.
At some point, those checks will stop coming. At some point, you hit that zero barrier where you say there's no more money to give. Sorry, figure it out. And then those people are going to go out and start trying to take, because
of course,
in the past it's always been given, so they're going to take.
Anybody who was here for Katrina.
Exactly. I was down here in the middle.
Yeah,
of
of course,
mess.
I'm sure you were.
And so you start looking on it and say, well, how's all that going to work? Well, I'll tell you how it works. They get precious metal dispersed anywhere from 1,500 to 3,000 feet per second, and eventually enough of them go away that they're not such a drain. I mean, as bad as it sounds.
Yeah.
But I mean, and nobody wants that, but at the end of the day, why should
it's the old lifeboat thing. It's you know how many people can you fit in a lifeboat where it tips over?
At some point,
you got to let the people in the water drown.
That's it.
So I mean, it's just natural.
So if you can take care of yourself, you take care of yourself, and if you can't, well, you'll find a way to, or you'll die trying.
Yeah.
I mean, it sounds horrible. No, I mean, really,
it's just natural, basic survival.
Right.
I mean, this ain't nothing new.
Right.
Go out in the woods. I mean, it's
Well, sure. But, I mean, if you go back to a hard-based system that's not based on speculation of future, you put it on something solid, gold, or something else. I mean, you go back to something like that, you can cure a lot of it. There's going to be heartburn. There's going to be a bunch of people that get really upset. There's going to be a lot that have nothing and will eventually find a way to have something. They'll have to go to work. They'll have to do something of value. But that's how you can cure.
It's amazing what spurs you, how hunger and desperation can spur you on.
In 2 or 3 days, you can drive a whole city into chaos. You said the grocery stores are out.
And we've witnessed that. We've seen that here.
Yep, and then it spreads.
Places. Yeah.
And the beauty of it is just don't be in the epicenter of some of those big nasty things and let it filter out. As it filters out to you, you only got to knock them off 2 or 3 at a time. You ain't got to fight off 60.
Yeah, was it be two gas tanks away? Right?
That's exactly it.
Yeah, and at least maybe 3 miles off any main road. Yeah.
So, but I mean, and I'm afraid that if they don't turn things, headed. Now, at what point, I don't know. It may be, it could still go 30, 40, 50 years before that happens. I don't know. It's increasing in speed. It could be within 10. But depending on who you get and what kind of Band-Aids and how many little Dutch boys they can find to stick a finger in the hole in the dam, that all depends on how long you can limp it along and hang it on. I don't know how long you can keep it on life support. Could be a few years. Could go 30, 40. It all
Rubber
depends
band's
on...
pretty tight right now.
Exactly. So, but, I mean, there's things that could be done. I mean, if there's ever a problem, start a good war. That's always a huge revenue source.
Well,
like I said, you can start a big one and limp it along, add another 10, 15, 20 years to your lifespan just because of the war business is one of the biggest generators of revenue.
Of course.
So, I mean, you start looking, it could be done. Okay, well, the coffer's a little low in government. What do we do? Let's start a big-ass war, and we can have all kinds of people go to work and produce things. We can sell stuff, and in return of all that, you put a little more money back in the government coffer to feed the guys that keep taking out of it.
Now,
but it costs lives.
Just to tumble into my dreamer, thing here. How about this? I'm putting this out there in the universe. There is a new renaissance. We do go to the stars and the moons. We do find jobs for everybody. We go to other planets. Everybody works.
Right.
We find technologies.
Counter to Obama killing NASA, though, isn't it? I mean, NASA
it worries me a lot because they got the biggest black budget of all.
Yeah, it's a huge toilet bowl. They just keep flushing dollar bills down, and nobody knows where it goes.
I know.
It's just gone.
That's every now and then, because we got NASA close to us here, of course, and every now and then I get to speak to one of them, and I hopefully when I do, they have a couple of drinks in them, can tell me. But a lot of them confirmed a lot of
you got all your suspicions, and they're going to tell you, "Hey, you're not far off."
Exactly.
They won't tell you all of it. They'll tell you, you might be talking about something that's online.
Yeah. Scratch your left shoulder if I'm if you
right, exactly. Well, I'm going to let you do your thing, brother.
Oh,
you take care of yourself.
Oh, thank you very much.
Here,
let me give you a get-out-of-jail-free card.
Outstanding.
And for, We got to give you a lock her up button.
Oh, without a doubt.
You know, that's
Thank
a
you,
must,
sir.
man.
We'll be back by to see you shortly. I'm
now, I do YouTube my conversations out here, and I did YouTube you.
Go for it.
Okay, good. I just want to make sure, otherwise I wasn't going to do it, or I was at least going to black out your face. But thank you for your, your testimony. It's really going to help out a lot.
Appreciate it. Take care.
Thank you, sir.